Woody Harrelson's dad, Charles Harrelson, was a hitman for the mob, and he was tried for the May 28th, 1968 murder of Alan Harry Berg. And that's Alan, A-L-A-N is in Nancy, Harry Berg, B is in boy, E-R-G. And then on September 22nd, 1970, like Buck stated earlier, he was acquitted. So that was the first one that he was actually popped for. In 1968, so let's see, he was born July 23rd, 1938, so 30 years old was the first one he's busted for.
And he was estranged from Woody Harrelson, right?
For 4 years at that time, yeah.
Okay.
They, he left the family in 1964, him and the wife, Woody's mom. So the next...
I didn't see any real reason why, huh? Did they give a reason why?
I have a suspicion.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
But no, they didn't. Harrelson was then tried for the 1968 murder for hire killing of Sam DeHelia Jr. His first trial ended with a deadlocked jury, and then he was retried in 73, convicted, and sentenced to 15 years. So in 73, he gets 15 years, but 5 years later in 78, he's released for good behavior.
Yeah, that was a little jaw-dropping for
me. So he gets out the first time, he's acquitted.
Right.
Second time, he does 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Yeah.
Wild. So it definitely seems like he had some people in his corner, right?
For
definitely
good behavior.
Seems like
who gets good behavior for a murder?
Right. Definitely seems like he was connected.
And you only had 15. Like, bro, you're doing that 15.
Yeah.
But no, you do 5.
Nah, he did 5. So trip on this. Shortly after he's paroled in 1978, he and his wife, Joanne, are implicated in another murder. It's no surprise, right? This guy's on a roll. He's been in his own now for
he
what?
He got his ride or die chick with him too.
A decade. He's like, fuck it. Yeah, now he's got Joanne. He's like, let's do it. So on May 29th, 1979, bro, U.S. District Judge John H. Wood Jr. was shot dead in the parking lot outside of his home in San Antonio. Okay? Harrelson was convicted of killing Judge Wood after being hired by drug dealer Jamil. I think because it's with a J and it's Spanish. I think it's Jamil Chakra. So it's Jamiel Chagra, but Jamil Chakra, whatever his name is. And he was scheduled to appear before that judge that day. That Charles Harrelson took him out. So
what's wild is, as much as he's been able to evade and stay free, he keeps getting caught too. That's crazy too. Like, damn, what kind of hitman are you?
This is what's fucked up. You know how he got caught for the fucking judge?
No.
Because
that's what I want to know.
Because they bugged Jamiel Chakra or Jamil, whatever his name was. They bugged his fucking... He was already in jail. They bugged his phone conversations. And he's talking to his brother.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, man, that dude Charles did it. You know, da-da-da-da-da.
Damn.
That's how he got busted, bro. Crazy, right? Yep. So then after that tape recorded conversation, in September 1980, Harrelson surrendered to police after a 6-hour standoff.
So I was confused about that too. So they charged him, but they never arrested him for the murder of the judge?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, this is them busting him, and they're about to take him to prison and all that shit.
This is the standoff.
Yeah, this is the standoff. Okay. Yeah. So, he threatens suicide, but then this is where it gets real crazy, bro. He admits he killed the judge, right?
Right.
So it's like, okay. Then, guess what he said he popped? Go for it.
I know because I looked into it. Dun dun dun.
JFK.
Yeah.
He said he was there for JFK. He was one of the shooters.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
So then afterwards, he tries to take his statement back. And I'm like, nah, dog, because You did kill the judge, and you admitted to it.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck did you admit to JFK? That shit is weird, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he was like, I was high on cocaine. It's like, yeah, so what?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Not like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, that's fucking crazy. So anyways, so Joseph Chakra, the one who they fucking bugged the, remember it was Hamiel or whatever his name is?
Right.
Jamil. I really wish I knew how to pronounce it because I'm tired of saying it both ways to clarify. But anyways, his brother Joe, he said he testified during Harrelson's trial that Harrelson claimed prior to all this shit, like he's been telling him, to have shot Kennedy, that he was he's the one that actually plugged him.
Mm.
He was the main one, and drew maps to show where he was hiding during the assassination.
Right.
Crazy.
But he didn't believe him.
Right? He didn't believe him. But then according to this book that came out in '89, you guys check this book out because I haven't got a chance to see it yet. Did you look at it yet? Crossfire?
No.
Okay, so in '89, an author named Jim Marrs, and that's M as in Mary, ARRS. He has a book called Crossfire. Check it out. I haven't seen it yet. You could look at it online. I'm sure there's a PDF version. So Marrs states in this book that Harrelson was involved, quote, with criminals connected to intelligence agencies and the military, close quote, and suggested that he was connected to Jack Ruby through Russell Douglas Matthews, a third party with links to organized crime, who was known to both Harrelson and Jack Ruby. Lois Gibson, who was a well-known forensic artist, matched photographs of Harrelson to the photographs of the youngest looking of the Three Tramps.
That's what I read that part, yeah.
You guys, Google this photo, the Three Tramps, JFK. They busted, do you know the story of the Three Tramps?
No.
I didn't either. I looked it up because of this, and that's why I love doing these deep dives, because you learn all this shit, right?
Yeah.
They busted these three fucking vagrants, homeless people, behind the grassy knoll. You know the famous grassy knoll? Okay.
Yeah.
There was a fucking train tracks, and they were in a boxcar, and they opened the boxcar up, and there was a bunch of military fucking rifles and explosives in this boxcar, like they were being shipped. And they busted these guys, and they took them out, and you see there's pictures of them being led away by police. Well, the youngest of those three, the man in the middle, look this picture up, guys, the Three Tramps. The one in the middle, that's the forensic artist, Lois Gibson. She matched those photographs of Harrelson to him and said he's the youngest looking of the Three Tramps. Now, the city of Dallas and the Dallas Police Department, they've released the names, the actual names that they claim are of the Three Tramps, and they're saying it's not him, but of course that's what they're gonna say, right? And no one's ever gonna admit that. But anyways, you got that one. Yep, the one in the middle, the tall guy.
They're saying that tall guy.
Yep, Lois Gibson, a well-known forensic artist, matched photographs of Harrelson to the photographs of the youngest looking of the Three Tramps. You know what I mean? That's good enough to hold up in court, so it should be good enough for anyone else, right?
A sketch artist,
right?
Is pretty
a well-known forensic artist, yeah. So, anyways, Harrelson was sentenced to 2 life terms based on that conversation, plus 5 years. I don't get that. Why do they do that shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
why even 2 life terms? Why even that?
And
Just like,
some.
bro, you got life,
right?
But anyways, now both him and Joe were implicated in the assassination. Chakra, the Joseph, the one that said he knew that he drew the JFK assassination layout or whatever for him.
Right.
He got 10 years. So he was the one that went to go visit the brother who was already in jail that paid for the hit.
Okay.
Oh, he got paid 250 racks, by the way. That's a lot of money, bro. 250 grand in 1978.
Yeah.
That's probably like damn near like now. It was probably like $1 million almost.
Yeah.
800, 900 grand.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking money, bro. So anyways.
What's a life worth?
Right. Exactly. The dude's acquitted of the murder. The one that was in jail, he's acquitted of the murder. Even though he admits that he paid him to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So the hitman gets Really?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be today, huh? That was just at the time,
huh? I think it's this case.
Right.
I think of the connections and shit. You know,
that might have been part of
he had more money
Yeah.
than Charles Harrelson. So fuck it. You're taking the fall. So look, he's acquitted of the murder when his brother Joe refused to testify against him. So the brother that got 10 years, who said Harrelson, you know, they're the ones that got him busted, he wouldn't testify against the brother that was already locked up. So then he got out. And then the wife, Joanne, his ride or die, we were talking about her. Mm-hmm. Dude, consecutive terms of 20 years on multiple convictions of conspiracy and perjury.
Damn. Because she held it down.
Yeah, she went to jail for 20 years. So she didn't get out till like 98. I mean, her sentence was 98, but she probably got like 95.
Man.
17 years probably. So trip on this. So so once that whole thing, I was like, okay, that's interesting. But what more about the JFK thing though, right? The Three Tramps, all that got me going. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I look up where they were living at that time. And at that time, he was living in Midland, Texas. I'm talking about Charles Harrelson.
Okay.
And I'm talking about, when I say at that time, I'm talking about November 1963 when President Kennedy was assassinated.
Okay.
Midland, Texas is 300 miles from Dallas. Very much could have been, hey, we know this guy. He's out here in the country. We're going to hire him, you know. So I could see that happening. So trip on this. Now, Prescott Bush is, you know Prescott Bush? Mm-hmm. Okay. You guys who don't know, Prescott Bush is the grandfather of George W. and the father of George H.W. And he's the one that was connected to all these different people and kind of got the family going to the status that where it is right now. So he's grooming Nixon at the time. This is like 1947. It was 1947. And Nixon was a congressman at this time. And he's grooming him for the presidency, right? Because his kid is too young still, right? His George H.W. is still too young for all that shit. And it's 1947. And he wants to have an end to the White House. At that time, he has an assistant. The congressman does. Do you know that assistant's name? This is 1947. And the players are Prescott Bush, Richard Nixon, and he has an assistant. The assistant's name, Jack Ruby. The one who killed Oswald. He used to work, and this is a fact, guys, look it up. He used to work for Nixon in 1947. Okay? So there's his connection to everything that's going on, right, and like some internal government shit. All right. So then what they did, excuse me, in 1952 is they put Nixon on the ticket with Eisenhower, right? Eisenhower was a general. So they're like, yeah, he's a shoo-in. He's going to win. The Korean War just ended, right? That was from 50 to 52. So it just ended. And now it's the elections in 52. And then World War II had just ended in 45. That was 7 years previous. So that war shit, pride, American nationalism is real big. So they throw him on the ticket with Eisenhower as the vice president. And it said, the old pin said Dick and Ike, or Ike and Dick. Because that was, Eisenhower was Ike and fucking, obviously Richard was Dick. Anyway, so from 52 to 60.
That's where they get Mike and Ike's from?
From 52 to 60, they're thinking, we got it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been a vice president for 8 years. He's in the limelight. 1960, he's running for president. Nixon does. And they're like, we got it. They didn't have it, bro. Joseph Kennedy paid the mafia, and the mafia rigged the election, and that's how JFK won the election. So now they're like, fuck, you gotta be kidding me. This plan has been in place, bro, since 1947. It's 1960, bro. This is 13 years later. Right? So they're devastated. Yeah. Imagine how they felt about that. 13 years you're laying groundwork, and then some fucking Irish dude from fucking Boston just steps in and gets the mafia to fucking rig the election. Okay. Now, the reason they did that was the Kennedys promised them they were going to give them Cuba back. Castro had just taken over and kicked the mafia out of Cuba. And that was big for them, bro. They had casinos, hotels. They were big over there, bro. That was Vegas back in the days. That's why Vegas is more cracking now. You feel me? They've had to focus more on that. So they're like, yeah, get that back for us. So that whole failed Cuban invasion shit that caused the Bay of Pigs and almost caused the nuclear war, that's all Kennedy trying to keep his word to the mafia. That's why he went into Cuba. We went into Cuba. That's why the nukes were then set up by the Soviets over there. Because they're like, fuck, what was that? You know what I mean? You feel me?
Yep.
All right. So it fails. And what do? Instead of keeping their word, Bobby Kennedy, his brother, the attorney general, goes after the fucking mafia, bro. And now the mafia is like, what? I'm like, hold on, bro. We won you the election. You failed to get us Cuba, like you said, and now your brother's fucking prosecuting us? That's what's up, bro. So, fast forward, they're in Dallas, right? And look what happens, bro. They get in there and they fucking blow his fucking head off. And they hire Charles Harrelson, it looks like, and a couple other people because they triangulate their targets. And we spoke before how Lyndon B. Johnson used to work for the civilian corps. Remember one of these episodes we talked about that? Do you remember? It was out of Dr. Day's book.
Okay.
He used to work for the Civilian Conservation Corps or something in the 30s.
Okay.
And he worked in Dilley Plaza in Dallas, where the president was shot 30 years later. He worked in the sewer system there or something. So he knew the layout, bro. And he just said, that's what Harrelson said was, hey, I was hiding, like he drew where he was hiding and all that. So this all ties in to what Lyndon B. Johnson, where he was working, what he knew, the layout. He was the vice president then. He's the one that took over for him, excuse me. So anyways, what were you going to say?
Nothing. I was just going to say you make a compelling case.
Right? That shit's wild. So anyways, let me see here. Where's my notes at? Yeah, basically, so that's what went down, bro. Was he couldn't fulfill his word. Bam, they pop him, right? And they hired somebody to kill this motherfucker. And the head of the CIA at that time was George H.W. Bush. So the mafia and the government, the same. They run in the same circles. So if the mafia was like, yo, we want the president gone, and the CIA was like, oh shit, for real? You want the president gone too? So do we. You know what I mean? Because Bush is indebted to his father, who is groomed Nixon now for, this is now 16 years, right? In 63, 16 years. Like, bro, what the fuck? You know what I mean? How long are we going to wait for this shit to happen? So bam, they smoke his ass. Now, here's some more interesting things that I found. So we talked about him being the Three Tramps. You guys look that up. It's the guy in the middle. But this is interesting. So these are weird connections. It could be nothing. These are weird connections, though. So Woody Harrelson plays Lyndon B. Johnson in the movie LBJ. So the guy who took over for Kennedy after his dad smoked Kennedy, he played his character in the movie. That's kind of weird. Yeah. Right?
If his dad did indeed smoke Kennedy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Now, he also played Larry Flint. Okay? Now, here, trip on this. That may not mean anything to anybody. They may be like, what the fuck does Larry Flint have to do with this? Well, I looked it up. In January of 1978, Larry Flint took out a full page ad in the Dallas Morning newspaper, okay? He offered a $1 million reward. $1 million bucks, bro, in 1978. That's like $4 million now, okay? And he said he wanted the real information to who killed JFK. Okay? That was in January of 1978. In March of 1978, Larry Flint was fucking shot. And that's why he was paralyzed. Man. You feel what I'm saying? Now, he played Larry Flint in that movie. So you feel what the JFK connection there?
Yep.
Right? The guy who was saying, I want to find out who killed JFK. And if it was Charles Harrelson Harrelson's son played that guy.
Right. Hello.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy. Another movie he played in that I kind of feel like, yo, maybe you pulled out your inner dad. And I mean no disrespect by that. It's just like maybe it's something that you can go in and dig deep into when your father is who he is. But Natural Born Killers. Remember that movie, Natural Born Killers?
Yep.
Oh, he was brilliant in that movie, bro. He's a great actor. I'm just saying he was brilliant in that movie.
Yep.
I was like, yo, that dude's crazy as fuck. Because not only were they crazy, bro, they were like slow. And that was even scarier. Because they were like street smart, but kind of slow. Like just the way they acted and shit, you know? Mickey and Mallory.
Yeah.
That shit was wild, bro.
Yeah, I remember that shit. That shit was a good movie.
That was a great movie. So, but the guy, the shooter who they busted for shooting Larry Flint, his name is Joseph Paul Franklin. He was a white supremacist, and he claimed that he shot Flint because in Hustler there was a interracial sex clip or whatever, you know, in the magazine. But I was like, bro, what are the chances? 2 months before this fool gets smoked, he puts out $1 million reward for information leading to the capture of whoever shot fucking JFK. Right? All right, cool. So here's another few fucking coinky dinks, and then we'll move on. You know, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but
yeah, for sure.
I do want to touch on this because it's dope. Now, this is weird, bro. Woody Harrelson's mother, her maiden name, bro, not Harrelson. When she married Charles Harrelson and had Woody Harrelson, her maiden name, bro, Mary Lou Oswald.
Damn.
Her last name is the same as Lee Harvey Oswald. I looked it up. Only 5 out of 100,000 people have Oswald as a surname, and two of them were in Texas when President Kennedy was murdered. But they're not related. That's what we're supposed to believe.
Interesting.
Right? Okay.
Crazy.
That's fucking crazy. Okay.
Super crazy.
Now, you asked, why did Charles Harrelson leave the family? Like, blah, blah, blah. He was, he left in 1964. Okay. They divorced in 1964.
Okay.
Kennedy was murdered in November of 63. I think he knew the heat was on, and she probably knew what happened and was like, fuck this shit, bro. No.
Get out of here.
You got to bounce, dog.
Yeah. Damn.
It adds up, you know? And,
see, I thought the timeline was that he was already gone and estranged from his family when
JFK?
Yeah.
No. JFK was 63, and then he left the family in 64.
Gotcha.
And it was late 63. Dealey Plaza, Dallas, November like 22nd or 23rd.
And then when was the
63?
When he finally got caught with and confessed to the judge and JFK? What year was that?
79.
Oh, way much later.
16 years later.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Crazy,
okay.
right?
Okay.
All right. Here's another one that I found. I was doing all these name searches. I was trying to connect the Oswalds and all that. But this is weird, bro. Check this out. This one's a little weird. So Lee Harvey Oswald's dad, his name was Robert E. Lee Oswald.
Robert E. Lee, huh?
And I was like, what? And I looked it up. He's a distant cousin of Robert E. Lee.
Damn.
So I was like, wait a minute. That's crazy. Because that's twice now that the Confederates have been linked to assassinations, presidential assassinations. Right? Okay.
Wow.
You have Abraham Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth.
Wow.
And you have John F. Kennedy and Lee Harvey Oswald. Right? Both assassins have the full names and all that. So I was like, wow. So I looked up the coincidences between those two assassinations. Trip on this. This is the parallels between the Lincoln and the Kennedy assassinations.
Okay.
This will blow your mind. You guys check this out. If you haven't heard this before, this is going to blow your mind. Both men were elected to Congress in 46. Lincoln in 1846, Kennedy in 1946. Both men were elected to the presidency in 60. Lincoln in 1860, Kennedy in 1960. Both men were concerned with civil rights. Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Kennedy proposed what became the Civil Rights Act. Both men married in their 30s to women in their 20s. Both men lost a son while living in the White House. Both presidents had 4 children, and both lost 2 before they reached their teens. Right? It's weird. The doctors for Lincoln and Kennedy had the same name, Charles Taft. Lincoln's private secretary was John Nicolay, and Kennedy's private secretary was Evelyn Lincoln. Weird. Both men were shot on a Friday. Both men were shot in the head. Both men were shot in the presence of their wives. Lincoln was sitting in box number 7 of Ford's Theater when he was killed. Kennedy was riding in car number 7 in the cavalcade in a Lincoln made by the Ford Motor Company.
Damn it, man.
Okay. Numerology, 7. Both were assassinated by Southerners, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald's from Louisiana. The law enforcement officer who detained John Wilkes Booth was Lafayette Baker, and the man who detained Lee Harvey Oswald was Marion Baker. Both their presidential successors were named Johnson, Andrew Johnson, and Lyndon B. Johnson. Both men were succeeded by Southerners. Both successors were born in 08, Andrew Johnson in 1808, Lyndon Johnson in 1908. Both assassins are known by 3 names, John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald, which isn't that uncommon, actually, with assassins for some reason. They always do the 3-name thing. I don't know what that's all about. Both assassins' names have 15 letters.
Because they're really not assassin, they're characters for us to remember.
Right.
Go ahead, though.
All good. Booth ran from the theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. Both assassins were themselves assassinated before their trials. And last but not least, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald were both originally thought to be lone gunmen, but later was discovered they were part of a conspiracy.
Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.